It's 3 a.m. The house is silent, but your mind is screaming. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, your heart pounding with a weight you can't name. The world outside is asleep, but inside you, a storm is raging. You're not sure when it started. Maybe it was that argument with someone you love, the one that left you feeling hollow. Maybe it was the email from your boss, the one that made you question why you're still in a job that suffocates you. Or maybe it's just the mirror, the one you've been avoiding, because it no longer shows the person you thought you'd become. There's a whisper in the back of your mind, faint but relentless. This isn't the life I was meant to live. You try to silence it. You scroll through your phone, numb yourself with videos, or tell yourself you'll figure it out tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is just another today you'll waste, pretending everything is fine. You're not alone in this. Most people live their entire lives like this, trapped in a cycle of survival, chasing things they don't want, pleasing people who don't care, and running from the one truth that could set them free. You don't have forever. Time is slipping through your fingers, and with every second, you're losing the chance to live the life you were born for. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who stared into the abyss of human existence, once wrote, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." But what he didn't say is that sometimes it's not the things that kill us that destroy us, it's the things we let live inside us, the compromises, the fears, the regrets, the quiet betrayals of our own dreams. Nietzsche believed that life demands courage, not to avoid pain, but to embrace it as the fire that forges who you are meant to be. This is your wake-up call. Your second life, the one you were always meant to live, begins the moment you stop pretending you have more time. Let's start with a story. Imagine a man named David. David is 42 years old, married, with 2 kids and a stable job at an accounting firm. From the outside, his life looks perfect. A nice house, a reliable car, family vacations every summer. But every morning, David wakes up with a knot in his chest. It's not anxiety, not exactly. It's something deeper, something he can't explain to his wife or his co-workers. It's the feeling that he's missed something vital, something he was supposed to do, someone he was supposed to become. When David was 20, he dreamed of being a musician. He'd stay up all night writing songs, strumming his guitar until his fingers bled, pouring his soul into melodies that made him feel alive. But then, life happened. His parents told him music was a pipe dream. His friends laughed at his hobby. Society whispered that he needed to grow up, get a real job, be responsible. So David put the guitar away. He went to college, studied finance, got a job, got married, had kids. He did everything right. But now, at 42, David lies awake at night, haunted by the songs he never wrote, the stages he never stood on, the life he never lived. The guitar sits in the attic, gathering dust, a silent monument to the person he buried to become someone else's version of success. David's story isn't unique. It's the story of millions. It's probably your story, or at least a piece of it. You know that feeling, the one that creeps in when you're alone, when the distractions fade, and you're left with the truth that you've spent years building a life that doesn't feel like yours. Nietzsche called this the herd instinct, the human tendency to follow the crowd, to conform, to sacrifice individuality for safety. He saw society as a machine designed to churn out obedient workers, predictable consumers, and docile citizens. The man who does not wish to belong to the mass needs only to cease taking himself easily, Nietzsche wrote. Let him follow his conscience, which calls to him, be yourself. But being yourself is terrifying. It means stepping away from the herd, risking rejection, failure, and loneliness. It means confronting the fact that you've spent years, maybe decades, living for other people's expectations. You've stayed in jobs you hate because they pay the bills. You've stayed in relationships that dim your light because you're afraid of being alone. You've silenced your dreams because someone somewhere told you they were impossible. And yet, deep down, you know the truth. You feel it in your bones. You weren't born to pay bills and die. You weren't born to shrink yourself to fit someone else's mold. You were born to burn brightly, to create, to love, to live so fully that the world feels your presence long after you're gone. But here's the brutal reality. Most people never wake up. Most people spend their entire lives on autopilot, chasing milestones that don't matter, collecting possessions that don't fill the void, and running from the one question that could change everything. What would I do if I wasn't afraid? Let's pause for a moment and think about time. You tell yourself you have plenty of it. You'll chase your dreams after you graduate, after you get promoted, after the kids move out, after you retire. You tell yourself you'll live fully once the conditions are perfect, once you have enough money, enough courage, enough permission. But time doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Time doesn't care about your excuses. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Nietzsche understood this better than most. He wrote, "Many are stubborn in pursuit of the path they have chosen, few in pursuit of the goal. Most people cling to the path they're on, even when it leads nowhere, because it's familiar, it's safe, it's what they know. But safety is an illusion. The clock is ticking, and every second you spend living someone else's life is a second you'll never recover. Every day you delay is a day you'll mourn." Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence forces us to confront this head-on. He asked, if you had to live your life over and over again, every moment, every choice, every regret, for eternity, would you be proud of the life you've built? Or would you scream in agony at the thought of reliving the same compromises, the same fears, the same wasted potential? Let's make this real. Think about the last 5 years of your life. Where were you 5 years ago? What were you dreaming about? What promises did you make to yourself? Now ask yourself, how many of those dreams have you chased? How many of those promises have you kept? If you're like most people, the answers will sting, because life doesn't slip away in dramatic moments. It slips away in the quiet betrayals, the days you said later, the opportunities you ignored, the risks you didn't take because you were too busy surviving. Here's another story. Sarah was 35 when she realized she was drowning in a life she didn't choose. She was a lawyer, successful by every external measure. She had the corner office, the six-figure salary, the designer wardrobe, but every morning she woke up with a pit in her stomach. She hated the long hours, the endless meetings, the clients who treated her like a machine. She'd always wanted to be a writer, to tell stories that moved people, to create something that mattered. But law school had been the practical choice, the one her parents approved of, the one that promised security. One day, Sarah's best friend was diagnosed with cancer. She was 36, vibrant, full of plans for the future, but within 6 months, she was gone. At the funeral, Sarah stood over her friend's casket, trembling, not just with grief, but with a realization that hit her like a tidal wave. This could be me. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. That moment broke something in Sarah. It shattered the illusion that she had time to waste. She went home, opened her laptop, and started writing. She wrote through the tears, through the fear, through the voice in her head that told her she was too old, too inexperienced, too late. She quit her job 6 months later, took a part-time gig to pay the bills, and poured everything into her writing. Today, Sarah's first novel sits on bookstore shelves. It's not a bestseller, but it's hers, and every time she sees it, she's reminded that she chose to live before it was too late. Sarah's story isn't about becoming famous or rich. It's about waking up. It's about realizing that the only thing worse than failing is never trying. Nietzsche would have admired Sarah not for her success, but for her courage. He believed that the greatest tragedy is not suffering, but a life half-lived. "You have your way, I have my way," he wrote. "As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist." Regret is not a loud emotion. It doesn't scream like anger or weep like sadness. It's quiet, insidious, like a slow leak in the foundation of your soul. It creeps in when you're alone, when the world is quiet, and you're left with the truth of your choices. It whispers, "You could have been more. You could have done more. You could have lived more." Nietzsche understood regret as a form of self-betrayal. "The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die," he wrote. When you cling to a life that no longer fits you, when you refuse to shed the skin of who you were told to be, you begin to die inside. Not all at once, but slowly, day by day, until you wake up one morning and realize you don't recognize yourself. Let's go back to David, our musician turned accountant. Every time he passes the attic door, he feels a pang of regret. It's not just about the guitar, it's about the person he could have been. The songs he could have written, the moments he could have lived if he'd been brave enough to defy the voices that told him to play it safe. Regret doesn't just hurt, it poisons, it taints every memory, every milestone, every moment of happiness. You get the promotion, but it feels empty because it's not what you wanted. You celebrate your anniversary, but it's bittersweet because you know you've settled for less than love. You buy the house, the car, the life everyone told you to want, but it feels like a costume you're wearing to a party you don't belong at. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, a contemporary of Nietzsche's, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have. Regret is the memory of a future you abandoned, a life you could have lived if you'd been brave enough to choose it. But here's the good news. You're still here. You're still breathing. The fact that you're watching this video, that you're feeling the weight of these words, means it's not too late. Regret is painful, but it's also a gift. It's a signal that something inside you is still alive, still fighting to break free. The pain of regret is your soul begging you to wake up, to stop surviving, to start living. So how do you do it? How do you break free from the life you've built, the one that's suffocating you? How do you step into your second life, the one that's been waiting for you all along? It starts with a single, terrifying realization. You are running out of time, not in a vague philosophical sense, but in a real, urgent, undeniable way. You don't have forever to chase your dreams. You don't have forever to tell the people you love how you feel. You don't have forever to become the person you were born to be. Nietzsche's philosophy of the Übermensch, or Overman, is about becoming the fullest, truest version of yourself. It's not about being perfect or superhuman. It's about having the courage to live authentically, to create your own values, to forge your own path, even when the world tells you to stay in line. Man is something that shall be overcome, Nietzsche wrote. The person you are today, the one who's afraid, who's compromising, who's playing smartless, not the person you're meant to become. But becoming your true self requires courage. It requires you to confront the things you've been avoiding, the dreams you've buried, the truths you've silenced, the risks you've refused to take. It requires you to stop waiting for permission, for approval, for the right moment. Let's tell one more story. Maria was 50 when she realized she'd spent her entire life living for other people. She'd raised 3 kids, worked as a nurse for 25 years, and been the perfect wife, mother, and employee. But one day, her youngest child left for college, and the house fell silent. For the first time in decades, Maria was alone with herself, and she didn't like what she saw. She'd always wanted to travel, to see the world, to learn new languages, and meet new people. But she told herself it was selfish, impractical, impossible. She'd put her dreams on hold for her family, her job, her responsibilities. But in that quiet house, Maria realized something. Her kids didn't need her anymore. Her job didn't define her. And the only person she was still disappointing was herself. So Maria made a decision. She enrolled in a Spanish class. She booked a one-way ticket to South America. She sold her house and used the money to fund her travels. Her friends called her crazy. Her co-workers whispered that she was having a midlife crisis. But Maria didn't care. For the first time in her life, she was living for herself. Today, Maria is 55. She's traveled to 12 countries, learned to speak Spanish fluently, and started a blog where she shares her adventures. She's not rich, she's not famous, but she's alive. Truly, fiercely, unapologetically alive. Maria's story is proof that it's never too late to wake up. You don't need to be young, wealthy, or free of responsibilities. You just need to be brave. Brave enough to say no to the things that shrink you. Brave enough to say yes to the things that set your soul on fire. Brave enough to stop apologizing for wanting more. Nietzsche's philosophy is not just about thinking deeply, it's about acting boldly. He believed that life is not something to be endured, but something to be created. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star, he wrote. Your second life begins when you embrace the chaos, the fear, the uncertainty, the risk, and use it to create something extraordinary. Here are 5 practical steps to start living your second life today. 1. Confront your mortality. Sit down with a piece of paper and write your own obituary. Not the one you have now, but the one you want to have when you die. What do you want it to say? What legacy do you want to leave? This exercise isn't morbid, it's clarifying. It forces you to face the fact that your time is finite and to decide what you want to do with what's left. 2. Identify your why. Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." What's your why? What's the thing that makes your heart race, that keeps you up at night, that you'd regret not pursuing? It might be a career change, a creative project, a relationship you need to repair, or a dream you've buried. Whatever it is, name it, write it down, make it real. 3. Say no to what drains you. Your time and energy are your most precious resources. Stop wasting them on things that don't align with your why. Quit the job that's killing your soul. End the relationship that's holding you back. Stop saying yes to obligations that make you feel small. Saying no is not selfish, it's survival. 4. Take one brave step. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start small, but start now. If you want to write a book, write one page today. If you want to travel, book a weekend trip. If you want to reconnect with someone, send them a message. The smallest action, taken with intention, is more powerful than years of dreaming without doing. 5. Embrace the pain of growth. Living your second life will hurt. You'll lose friends who don't understand you. You'll face rejection, failure, and self-doubt. But pain is not the enemy regret is. Every step you take toward authenticity will make you stronger, even if it feels like it's breaking you at first. You are standing at a crossroads. On one side is the life you've always known, the safe, predictable, suffocating life that's slowly killing you. On the other side is your second life, the one that's messy, uncertain, and terrifying, but also vibrant, authentic, and yours. Nietzsche believed that the greatest sin is not suffering, but mediocrity. It's living a life that's less than you're capable of. It's dying with your dreams still inside you. You don't get a second chance at life unless you choose it now. So choose it. Choose to wake up. Choose to feel the fear and run toward it anyway. Choose to live so fiercely that when your time comes, you'll have no regrets, only gratitude for the life you dared to live. This is your wake-up call. Your second life is waiting. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when everything is perfect. Now. Final words to the viewer. You have one life, one fragile, fleeting, miraculous chance to be who you were born to be. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to shine. Live. Right now. Right here. Without apology. If this video stirred something inside you, if it made you feel the weight of your unlived life, don't let it fade. Comment below, "I'm ready to live my second life today." And then take the first step, because the only thing worse than failing is never starting. Your second life begins the moment you stop pretending you have time.